Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Lisum coming to you on this episode of Evolving Women with my amazing guest co host, Rita Desnoyers Garcia. And we're evolving women. I'm evolving. You're evolving. We're all evolving. So let's help each other to evolve. We're here to bring you uplifting messages, new perspectives, empowering tools, fresh insights, new resources, maybe plant some new seeds. You're going to hear anything from wellness ideas, mindset shifts, self belief strategies. You never know what you're going to get. But we are dedicated to being a source of inspiration for you. So we're here to give you permission to be your most authentic self. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to Rita. We so appreciate you being here. We already talked in part one or episode previous to this. So I'm going to invite our viewers to go check out Rita Desnoyers Garcia, part one, and listen to us chat about self-compassion. We're going to take a little bit of it's a similar route, but I'm going to ask you, what does it mean when you see negative patterns reappearing in your life again and again? And, how do we break out of that? So, Rita, please share your thoughts on that.
Okay, so I first want to address what it doesn't mean. This is where we often get caught up when negative things are happening. So if you're getting a lot of negative people in your life, negative interactions, weird emails, even stuff online, people get all sorts of reactions online, situations you're in. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you are being punished. It doesn't mean that some people believe in karmic
Mm-hmm.
revenge or
Yeah.
whatever like that.
Right.
To me, what it means is that the pattern is up for review and release.
Mm.
So there's a couple layers here. One is what happens, right? The actual events. And then there's how you see the event, and then what meaning you make out of it. So depending on what those things are, you may be like actually repeating things over and over because of how you're perceiving things, how you're responding to things, what you're believing about things. So the good news about that is that you actually can do something about it. At the very least, you can change your relationship to what is happening in your life. And let me tell you, that is everything. If you can change your relationship to what happens in your life, you can create a very high level life. So, and you stop depending on things having to be a certain way,
Hmm.
right? Like a lot of people talk about, I'd be happy when, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be
Yep.
happy
Yep.
when I have a boyfriend, or when I have a
Mm-hmm.
grandchild, or when
Yes.
I have $1 million, or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
when I'm, this amount of weight.
Yes.
When we go into those conditional, I'll be happy when, you're you're depriving yourself of happiness in the moment,
Yes.
right? So I'm kind of going all over here, but what I'm trying to say is when you can recognize negative patterns, that is really an opportunity, and this is positive intelligence, a gift and an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Change your relationship to whatever the person, situation, event is. And that sometimes is simply to recognize that it's a pattern. It's not who you are, it's not a punishment, it's just a pattern. And patterns can be changed.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
So
Um,
sometimes the pattern is a belief that negative things always happen,
Mm-hmm.
or I never get what I want, or God doesn't love me,
Yeah.
right? So if you can recognize, first of all, it's a pattern. So just pause for a moment. I see a pattern, okay, in the field, so to speak. What is this pattern telling me? What's the belief behind it? Sometimes we don't know that,
Mm-hmm.
but there are ways to um, excavate that through self-compassion exercises, subconscious reprogramming. And then once you know what the belief is, man, you start to see it everywhere.
Mm.
And at first you're just like, oh God, I can't believe I've been living this way for so long. But it's good news. It's good
Mm-hmm.
news because you're just seeing more of what's going on and how you've been living.
Yeah, it's
And
that awareness. Yeah, that
yeah,
recognition. Yeah.
yeah. And then you can deal with it in a couple of ways. Sometimes just having compassion for yourself and doing some journaling and asking those questions and asking what you need is enough to change the pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
no, I believe that. That's shining a light on what's happening, what the patterns are, could be enough to
yeah, it's
disrupt it or dislodge it a little bit.
yeah, because you realize that it's not reality
Mm-hmm.
that's immutable. It's a pattern that's very mutable.
Mm.
Right? So sometimes that is enough. It's like when you turn the light on in your closet, you think there's a scary monster in there, and then you turn it on, oh, it's just my raincoat or a balloon.
Right,
I remember
right.
getting freaked out. I would see a balloon, and I'd be like, "What?" And my mother was like, "It's your birthday balloon." So a lot of it are paper tigers, right? A lot of these things are just like, I can't believe this woman said this to me, and blah 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 blah, and this must mean this, and I'm outraged, and then you realize she was talking to somebody else, or she had a bad day, or she was joking around, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It
yeah,
had very little to do with you.
yeah. And that's what we tend to do. We assume everything is related to us in some form or fashion. Like, yeah, no, not
Yeah.
really.
It's
Possibly, but 9 times out of 10, probably not.
Well, most of the things that we get upset about really have nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
However, when we can take care of ourselves, stay on our side of the street, so to speak,
Yes.
we can be that beautiful ray of sunshine that influences the people around us. And we have better, like I say, moms are the hub of the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're happy, when you're calm, when you're grounded, when you clear those negative patterns, all of a sudden it's easier to deal with your kids. It's easier to
Mm-hmm.
deal with your mother-in-law. It's easier to deal with your husband. It's easier to do whatever.
Yeah, we can only change ourselves. We
Right.
can only change ourselves. We can only change our own thoughts, our own reactions, our own behaviors, our own beliefs.
Yeah.
And then it's always surprising and delighting when we do that, everything
Yes.
else starts to
Takes care of
fall into
itself.
place around us. And
Yes.
if you our viewers, if you don't believe that, try it, experiment with it, see if
Yeah.
it works for you.
Yeah.
Don't don't think that somebody else's problem and they're going to fix it. Work on yourself, have that awareness, acknowledge, recognize, and take care of yourself and see what happens around you. Just as a
Yes.
big giant experiment. But you mentioned beliefs. When I learned that a belief is nothing but something we've been telling ourselves over and over and over and over and over, like that's all it is.
Yeah.
But we've told ourselves so many times, we feel it's a truth and it's unchangeable.
Yeah.
And you use the word mutable, immutable, and it's not a solid thing. It's just something you keep telling, you've told yourself 1,000 times,
Yeah.
and that can be changed. You
Yeah.
just switch out the words, think of something else, and tell yourself that 1,000 times, and that
Yes.
becomes your new belief. It's so simple.
It is, but it takes some dedication and
Yes.
persistence.
Yes.
And when I work with people around subconscious reprogramming, which is a tool that helps speed that up exponentially, one of the things that comes up is they'll say, "But this is not validating what I'm feeling." And I'm like, "Do you want to get rid of it, or do you want to feel validated in it?" I
Yeah.
understand validation in the beginning is important, but it's kind of like putting your hand on the hot stove,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a signal that there's something going on, but how long do you want to keep your hand there,
Right. Yes,
right?
I'm validated that this is hot. Okay, but
Right.
you can take it off now. You don't have to leave it there. Keep validating over and over and over.
Yeah, and then that keeps, the more you validate, this person's mean to me, this person's mean to me, this
Yes,
person's mean to
yes,
me. Guess
yes,
what?
yes.
That's how you're going to see them. That's how you're going to experience them. Even if they try to be nice, I don't trust them. They're tricking me. It's like,
Hmm.
whoa, Nelly, why
Yep.
would you give this other outside thing so much power?
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what subconscious beliefs do.
Yeah, they direct us in so many ways. And once we understand that, like I said, we could change it. Like you
Yeah,
said, change the patterning, change the relationship with
yeah,
what's happening, change the narrative. I always love that. Change your own story
yeah,
around it
yeah.
and not take that personally or think, well, that person might just be having a bad day. And I just happen to be there to
Yes.
get their wrath, and I feel so sorry that their day is so off that they have to take it out on me. But that was my choice to change my narrative around that experience.
Yeah, and it's easier to see it in other people.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Much
for
easier to see in
sure.
other people.
For sure.
Um, because as an observer, you're looking at them and you're watching them sometimes literally create the thing that they're complaining about,
Hmm.
because their
Oh yeah.
energy is just causing other people to react to them. And then,
Hmm.
before you know
Hmm.
it, well, they're right. This is a
Yep.
terrible thing. They
Yeah.
get to be right, which is another huge hurdle or challenge for people. With our need to be right is super strong.
Mm.
So for a long time, I remember realizing after a while, I'd rather be right than happy.
Mm.
I'd rather be miserable than right,
Hmm.
right? And then, when I realized that, I was like, oh, what am I doing? But it's just a human thing, right?
Hmm.
We love to be right, and which is one of the things that prevents change, is because we may be wrong. Uh-oh, what if we're wrong? Uh-oh, maybe if we maybe misunderstood this, or we didn't have all the information, or we're showing our ignorance. Yeah, you're never going to change if you are so identified with your position,
Yeah.
you're afraid to be wrong. And
Hmm.
guess what? That's what you're going to live out the rest of your life. Are you
Yeah.
happy there? Is that a
Yeah.
happy place for you?
I
Yeah,
love that. Do you need to be right or happy? Take your choice. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
yeah,
And, and if you are wrong, you just admit it. Oh man, I screwed that up. Boom. You go on to something else and try a
yeah,
different direction or make a new choice or whatever. It's
yeah.
not terrible to be wrong.
Yeah, it's not. That's how we grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can be open to that, once again, it gives you so much more power to be open to being wrong than to needing and clinging to being right.
Hmm. Yes. Us humans, like I said, we cause so much of our own suffering.
Oh, yeah, so
It's
much of it.
almost comical if somebody
Yes.
was observing us from a distance and watching us play certain things out, be like, man, that's really stupid, or whatever. I can just imagine what they're thinking. Like, they can't
Yeah, and
see that they just have to change this one thing and it
yes,
would be so much better. And
there is this classic uh, video of, it's really about men and women and couples and stuff like that. And it's this guy and this gal are talking, and the guy is trying to be really empathetic, listening to his wife or girlfriend. and she's talking about how she just feels so terrible and she's got this terrible headache and she doesn't know what to do. And then the camera pans to her and she's got a nail in her head.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy's trying to like gently suggest
Uh-huh.
that maybe she needs to take the nail out of her head, and she's
Oh
like, it's
my
not
gosh.
about the nail.
Oh my gosh.
And I just laughed because this is the human condition, right? It's in some ways you could say, well, no one wants to be told what to do, and she just wanted him to listen to her. And
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
but so much of it is like you got a nail in your head. This is why you're suffering. And we're so resistant to going, oh, right,
yeah. Oh,
off of
yeah.
it.
But like admit to being wrong, like, oh yeah, I did put it there the other day and I
Yeah.
oh, okay, but no, I want to be right. It should be there. It needs to be
Yeah. Or
there.
or our belief is if I take this nail out of my head, who will I be?
Ooh,
What will I
good
talk
point.
about?
Oh my God, good point. Yes. That
We're
whole
so
identity.
self-identified.
Yes,
Yes.
that identity tied up with a previous belief or an old belief or those old patterns or those
Yes.
patterns that keep showing up. They could
Yes.
be health related. It could be
Yes.
identifying as being shy or identifying as being not as smart as a sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all things that are not even real. They're like,
They're just beliefs.
they're just beliefs.
The thing you've been telling yourself. Or if I remove the nail from my head, I'll be betraying my family.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or if I
Because
remove
they
the
all had nails in their heads, I don't want to
yeah,
be
well, that's where
different
we
from
come
that.
from. We come
Yeah.
from nail in the head people. Come on. Don't we know? We all have the nails in our head. Or if I remove the nail from my head, something worse is going to happen. This is what
Hmm.
that nail in my head protects me.
Oh, yeah,
It
that's a good one.
sucks. I'm
That's a good one.
miserable, but something worse could happen.
That's a
So,
good one. Wow. And
yeah.
we're making light of this, but when you think about it, it does sound so illogical and so silly and so ridiculous when you compare those thoughts, those beliefs, those patterns to a nail.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it would take if you think of this, what we just spoke about, that nail being in your head. And what can you do? Do you want to hold on to the nail or do you
Yeah.
want to just take it out and move on and try something new? So
Right.
be silly. It doesn't have to be all serious and,
Oh, no.
you
Humor
know,
is very important in this work.
yes,
Because
for
it's a
sure.
release. It's another way to release, right? So it's crying. If I'm crying and laughing, sometimes both, I'm at my best. The cry laugh
Hmm.
is amazing. It's all
Ugly
it's all
laugh, crying thing.
go and laugh, cry, laugh, cry. Um, it's just all releasing a chemical release. It's your body, the physiology needs it in order to function and come back to homeostasis. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, and we probably need to be wrapping this up, but I just want to refer back to the crying part. People are afraid to cry. I know I'm not a big crier, but just when I do allow it to come, it is just feels so much better afterward. And don't put a limit on yourself. If you need to cry for a few days, do it, but you'll feel better afterwards. So don't stuff it down. Don't turn it off and like, oh, that doesn't look like I'm not strong if I start crying. And
I
so,
think we
yeah,
are
let it
strong.
go. It's your
Yeah.
body needs it to
Yeah,
release
I mean,
whatever.
we
So,
have to go to the bathroom several times a day. We need to
yeah.
yawn, we need to sneeze, we need to cough.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of things coming out of our body that we need to let go of.
Right. And
Tears are a beautiful way to release.
yeah, and don't allow society or people around us take that away from us,
Yeah.
because it's sometimes that does happen. Like, whew, and
Oh,
I don't want to go down that path. Like I said, we probably
yeah.
need to be wrapping this up, but this has been really enlightening. And I love that I'm going to invite our viewers to remember the nail in the head. That's just hysterical. And it's just a fun thing to think of. But yeah, just really look for and recognize and have an awareness, maybe be the detached observer as to what that pattern is showing you. Think of it as a gift It's showing you something. So you have some awareness around it. Detach, look at it from an observer, a curious point of view, and see where it leads you.
Yeah.
I guess that's my call to action.
Yeah, and sometimes it means you need help. You
Oh,
need
that
to
is
talk to
true. Thank you.
someone.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
to get to the root cause.
that
Because
is very
sometimes it's
true.
like
And
getting
there's
your hair cut. It's hard to cut your own hair. You don't.
That is true. Like we can't see outside our own head sometimes, and we need that outside person to give us an objective suggestion or, point something out to us. So there are all types of people out in the world that are able to help with that. You mentioned yourself, your subconscious reprogramming technique or modality. That is something to offer people. But if
Yes.
someone wanted to get hold of you and learn more about that, Rita, where can they find you?
So I have a website called becomingawake.com. It has both the self-compassion and the subconscious reprogramming programs on there. They're called One Happy Mother, and the other is One Free Mama. And you can
Hmm.
read about what it is, and then you can learn more by having a conversation with me, and I can give you more details.
Okay, great. And we will again put that in the description for this video so you can go find it. They can certainly look you up on what platforms?
Well, Facebook primarily.
Okay.
I have a group called Calm Mom Alliance. And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn under, I think it's my name, Rita Denoyer, and then also Instagram, Rita Denoyer. So there's different links. So yeah,
So
those are
you
the,
can find her out there on social media.
yeah.
But thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing some of your insights and your wisdom. We so appreciate you. And I appreciate what you're doing out there in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. If you haven't checked out that first episode with Rita, please do so. Go check it out. If you like what you've heard, share this and other episodes with friends. And let's just help the world evolve because we're all in this together. Thank you so much, my friends. We'll see you the next time. Bye bye.